into game, so they're trying to identify, I guess, exactly where Benkai's positioned, but he's been good at actually not showing himself at all the last few rounds.
No.
He was unnoted as of yet, other than, I guess, the turret on the window previous round, which obviously then they don't know it's Pora, but they did find Pora.
5 to 4. Jumping back in once again, this mid control at least shown this is a consistent look. Every single round, we should get used to this. First man to probably address this will be Forsaken, but with a newer angle, slightly deeper towards the backside of the vent room. Izzy, no subtlety, feeling bold enough, but they've got to know there's two players here. The feet show, but Brave wins the fight. And now that's problems galore as Paperx has to respond. Defy, you're a brave boy, just gonna dip his head down there, but he's gonna know better. About to get eaten alive, but Izzy, what do we do with this now? Up we go, and around we go. Might he just post it, he does, it finds nothing. Maybe just giving them a bit of space to play towards the site.
Actually here again, still the fail-safe in position. Benkai still has this lockdown. And everybody on Supermassive Blaze except for Pora positioned towards site. The wall goes down in heaven, so they're going to try and maintain control here.
Spike planted.
I think the lockdown going to force them back, but not all the way out.
This is heaven controls, this could be hard. You've still got so many players here. Yeah, the lockdown's going to come in, but how much they get forced away? There's still a little bit of playable area up there, and Turco's going to just thrive among it. 3 more seconds and he can get back to where he wants to be, but for now, they ain't that fussed about this Mind Freak moving around as well. Just gets absolutely eaten alive. Down to 1, Divide. That op has found nothing, no value in this one yet. And this has been the perfect adjust, perfect lean towards A. And SMB, that is a gorgeous round to look back on. A Prime Gaming flawless 1-2.
They effectively dismantle everything that Paperx had put in place for the last 3 rounds with that setup that I talked about time and time again. And actually in this round in particular, both Devi and Forsaken show on ramp. They show to Pora spy camp. So they're almost baiting. They're saying, look, it's the Rainer and the Jet here. You know, we're not playing retake on A. We're going to fight for it at lobby. SMB with the perfect response through ropes. Again, Forsaken getting caught slightly off guard. And actually as well, Devi burning the Blade Storm to try and get a desperation kill in response.
Straight up middle again, but Forsaken this time found. He does have Sheba by his side, but this does mean that A will be lighter than before. They have to be proactive, but the wall's going to be behind them. But this is... Forsaken's spray actually does find Izzy, but they're going to return this fight. They're turning it around slightly. Brave is happy to take this. Caught in the heels almost. Mind Freak pulling the attention, but Forsaken still stands. Now they are boxed in, but they are fighting their way out. Russ still claims Forsaken, and this is problematic. This little pack that is just roaming in middle is so deadly. They had Pora making sure no one was going to be flanking around the backside on A, and he can now join the rest of them.
Wall about to crumble as well, so Pora will be able to regroup here. Still 2, again, Mind Freak up here towards stairs and Devi with that operator towards B main. Still 2 to hold down the fort. Mind Freak actually was spot. The gravity were perfect actually for the first, but Turco in position to trade and get the res.
Oh, now, Devi makes value just before position gets really revealed, the intent fully known, and he needed it, but Turco denies it. What a shot from him. Massive impact this round as Benkai, we know he's been playing towards that A side, so his rotation's a little further away. Position now fully, everyone knows where he's at. On the switch up, still isolates Russ, goes for the follow, can't get it, Brave is there. And SMB now back-to-back rounds on the board.
As well, have to take a look at the economy for Paperx here.
Yeah.
Maybe a little flaky to say the least to close out in the last round. See if they'll be able to get a full purchase at least. Again, the gravity well perfect, but straight away the response is there with both the kill and the res actually. Well, light armors, yeah, but the Bulldog, it's serviceable. I don't know, looking at it, utility doesn't seem to be a problem. You look towards Sheba with the wall, those sorts of things that may be overlooked, but a bit proactive here to at least take the orb on A here and maybe force Pora a little deeper into spawn, but first time we've seen Paperx completely give up mid.
Yeah, we haven't seen this lean on this side as much to give Pora a little bit of a pushback. Kind of interesting to see Forsaken there, and you're right, that mid fight is now slightly absent. SMB be curious as to what's going on. The divide goes over towards that B site. Benkai could be in a spot of bother, but Devi isn't playing from the rafters. Catches Izzy on the push-up. That's going to slow progress. SMB going to have to work out how to try and pry these players out, these slightly deeper positions. The flash doesn't land, the repeat's good for Devi, but he doesn't land the shot. That time, it's still not hitting. It's Mind Freak going down, and Devi's now fallen. He had so many bites of the cherry. Benkai! What a round from him! He still needs more, though. Turco still looming, lingering up top. Jump peak's great. He has done so much. The support should be here. Forsaken should get his back. Turco shouldn't cause any more problems, but it's still Turco. That's one. Needs to find two more.
30 seconds left.
Benkai on pillar, he knows that. Shiba up top, maybe not so aware. And now Turco. Maybe considering that's to mask the sound of the drop. He should know, but Benkai catching the final player. 6-6. We said, is it going to be map 1? Is it going to be like map 2? We have our answer. Far more like map 1 and way closer affair here, Hypoc. But it is the halftime. So we're going to take a short second to dive down to the desk, who are going to give you a quick little update on their thoughts coming into this second half.
Thank you very much, Pansy and Hypoc. 6-6 at the half. It is a nail-biter, and this is exactly what we wanted to see as a decider.
Yeah, I really like what I see out of both teams right now. Paper Rex responding back to that early run from SMP. I was getting a little scared, I'm not going to lie, and then it looked like Devi finally came into form, and then we saw a little bit of good things from Forsaken on this Reyna, but I mean, I think he had more success earlier in the series, if I'm being honest. I just think all around, even Benkai came up big in that last round. Both teams are really firing on all cylinders.
I don't know exactly what to think of this map, because I'm seeing, we were talking about it, we were watching it, and we've seen some mistakes that were made that were major. I feel like maybe it's too dependent on everything that is going on onto mid. I feel like also Paper Rex took a long time to decide what was the right play to do about the situation onto mid. I really like the fact that, as we've seen, I feel like Turco had a great half. That was expected, but still, I think like this has to be a 6-6 because I haven't seen one team overtake the other one.
Yeah, that round, the retake round with the Killjoy ultimate and the Cosmic Divide, the lockdown combo, that was so awful to watch because they didn't have Heaven control, and the Cosmic Divide left an opening to Heaven, and they just kept peeking the Heaven angle, like totally unaware of it.
Literally had a lockdown that pushed everybody onto Heaven. Yeah, we were talking about it.
Well, it is 6-6, so who are you favoring going into the second half?
Oh, at this rate, I think Paper X, they've looked way stronger on the attack side throughout this entire tournament so far. So if they have those set plays like we saw in Haven, I'm going to actually edge them to get 7 rounds on this attack half.
Ooh. And I am going to say they're not going to do that great on the attack because, as we say, they do not have the initiator. I don't know exactly how they plan to get into sight because if Turco's defending, we saw that 1v1 against Forsaken. He was just going for the blinds. He's not scared. To you, he's just like playing aim lab a little bit. So I'm going to say this is going for SMB.
Ooh, well, let's get into the second half now with Pansy and Hypoc and see what both of these teams can do.
All up. All of this is up for grabs. Every single part of this is up for grabs. So, again, I don't know where to cut this because we've seen just rounds on the row now. 4 back-to-back rounds came in that first half, and it was like, well, okay, there's the bounce back. But again, these teams seem so hard to split between each other here.
No, I think the interesting thing is now Paper X have to lean into something we didn't see in map 1, which is kind of this all-out aggression, right? It was very composed. It was very in control. There was kind of protocols in place to at least put themselves in a position to win rounds on Haven. Now, I feel as if actually Decimate's a great point. Composition-wise, they really, really have to force the issue and be decisive in these rounds. We'll freeze for a moment, actually. Divide the furthest forward of anyone. Mind Freak on the other side of the map, actually just making sure there's no counter push on the side of SMB. But nothing noted on either side at this point. I think actually until that point there, poor spot in a jump peak.
That's about it. And you can't overly read into that. You can already see what Paper X are doing. They're leaning the hell away from it. Maybe taking a little bit of mid control. Maybe considering that B site. You can see the lean coming in from Sky as well en route through CT. That's all going up and away we go. Brave though waiting, gets set up for 1. That's a good first pick up towards Forsaken. Izzy is by his side, and Paper X leaning right back away from this.
The problem being, though, Brave was close enough to hear this, and now Russ in mid, potential to flash out here. Benkai actually going to play lurk here behind the turret. But there's still two people in position. It's Pora and Turco still on A site here to hold down. And another tripwire invested on A main.
Yeah, they didn't do enough to pull these rotations that deep or that long. They made a bit of contact, lost a player, and then started running. Pora can just sit and wait for this. I'm not impressed by this at all. Mind Freak's gone. Benkai, your last one standing. Yeah, that wasn't good enough to shake SMB at all. They are happy enough. They instantly read that retreat. Not going to happen.
Again, you got to think about what happens there. So Pora is spotted, and that's the call to then hit B, with only one person outside who, I guess as soon as Mind Freak doesn't take any contact, they're kind of maybe guessing that the weaker side of the stack is towards B, but it's just so bizarre to watch that. The time to get from A main all the way into garage, and then do you bank on SMB putting an extra body towards A just on the back of, I mean, call it contact if you want. It's just very, very weird to see. That's the sort of things where you think actually maybe it's coming down to a confidence issue, and at this point the pressure getting to Paper X.
Pressure is a huge factor that we're probably not touching on enough. But for now, Izzy's work in middle is not over. Isolating Forsaken off the back of that Sky utility makes it a little bit easier. No, the pain shell is nasty too. Russ trying to close that gap. He wants to finish what he started, and he's going to, but not quite enough to take down Mind Freak. But Izzy's there on the cleanup squad. Brave finding Divide comfortably as Benkai now your last player standing. Can at least get the orb, and no far towards Pora. Decent conversion, 4 alive, no threats.
I'll look to, again, 4 survive, so good opportunity at the bonus round. The supermassive plays, some SMGs to ride on, but okay, I was going to see if we do see anything weird come out here. Initially, Pora comes across, he's going to invest a tripwire in ropes, and then be the solo man to play anchor towards B. Now, the initial concern being, Paper X actually stacked towards mid here. There's 4 players on the side of Supermassive Blaze here. They're going to try and flash out of A main. Potentially catch Benkai.
Let's see if Benkai can be picked apart. He's going to dip away towards Sewer, and SMB are going to overextend almost. They want to try and chase him away from that, but the response is quick. Straight up middle. Paper X want to take that space in response. Now they're going to really understand this. Now Forsaken, has he been considered well enough? They've got to be so aware, no they're not. And this is a huge problem, it's just fallen to pieces down here. Forsaken could overextend on that if he wanted to. Decides against it, leaning towards that B side. Look how deep they're holding on this Russ. That Cypher sitting slightly deeper, but Russ going to play forward. There's 2 players here, he's going to get 1. He gets the second, the third evades, but already damage has been done. It's a 2v2 now.
Spike out from Pora again, the perfect distraction there to allow Russ to swing out. Now Paper X. Again, they can walk back to the tripwire though. Look, they have to deal with that, and that's going to be Turco called up here. Again, the slow will stop this initially. Time's still on the clock here, so they can run away from this. The turret will confirm, actually. There's at least 1 here. I don't know if 2 audio cues were given away, but they've got free access to B site here.
Shiba just going to sit himself
30
up here.
seconds left.
Turco will be his first challenge if he wants to push deeper. I doubt he does. Just be on bodyguard duty for that spike to go down and try and sit towards the rafters. Works up the back of the utility with the KJ, that's lovely. Pora couldn't quite catch him in the back, so now there's an opening. Pora has to push forward, finds tag, not the frag, and Benkai again, they're going to shut the book on this round. Paper X right back in it, they're finding answers now. But I mean, at what cost as well? That was still a costly round.
3 kills on the side of Supermassive Blaze, and actually this is the moment here where Supermassive Blaze tried to flip things back in their favor after, I guess, spotting one against this distraction. Perfect for Russ. Unlucky not to find the third, actually, but credit Paper X for having bodies in the right place at the right time. Let's see here, it's... Russ the only one with the SMG. Is he actually with the operator online here? But it's weird at the start of this round. Turco's still going to find Benkai.
It's like those dreams where you can't run, you're like stuck in place. Just quicksand below your feet. Couldn't make it out of there. Benkai going to just have to force away. And now he look towards the others. What can these 4 do here? I like early aggression. It's a dangerous game to play though at 8-7, but it pays off.
Bit of a reset to get a bit of a heal up in B heaven, but here Pora repositioned towards site actually. A bit of utility invested to to help him out. But the spike, meanwhile, making its way back towards B. Forsaken trying to remove these seekers so they can't give any further information at least. But again, the timing's just disastrous here for PaperX. 40 seconds left on the clock. SMB have already preemptively pulled away from A now.
You can see the expected timing with that flash. They're still a good 6-7 seconds behind that. It's
30 seconds left.
very offset timing. And the double stack now. Pop flash is perfect. Turco is just set in motion. Couldn't ask for anything better. Nice little leer, but they couldn't handle. Mind Freak on the swing. Gonna take down 2 and puts Brave in a bad spot here. Tries to look towards heaven, but one's already slipped towards sight. He has got Izzy coming through on CT, and that's gonna catch Forsaken on the cross. And Izzy's still right there, and he will not be moved. And it's now a big round for SMB. They're starting to get towards those double digits here. Very close to.
Initially, the trade back rounds, and PaperX now forced, I guess, unless Devi has his Bladestorm. And the thing to note here with this, Devi has actually not had as big a game as he's had on the previous maps. See if they're going to make a play for the orb here, try and get that Bladestorm available. Again, SMB have, again, a really good read on what's going on. Again, the 2-for-1 trade, and then SMB come back. That's why we're seeing a couple of Sheriffs invested. Yeah, actually pushing deep enough here where they can't even get this orb in garage. Turco finds the first, Rust, 2 to follow up. Actually, the third eludes him. Damage done here, and okay, Mindfreak will respond with a second here, but look at the HP.
They're left in tatters, aren't they? Divine Mind Freak. Trying to pick up anything they can. The scraps left on the ground, but Brave was closing in the entire time. Devi, what a shot from you! 14 HP. You got anything else you can show us here? You got a minute to play with. Spike ain't that far. You got a rifle. Got his ult. Got a little bit of utility. 2 to find. 1 being Izzy, op in hand. Slowly leaning down middle. Let's pause for a second just to consider the timing. The cross is being watched by Pora. So Devi now having to just work his way around. Every angle could contain a player, so he's clearing meticulously. And now timing's everything on this peak towards that top side of heaven. Pora there, and it's going to be Pora. Nicely done. Double digits now found by SMB. And I like that aggression. It felt a little wild, but I see the concept. The execution is always tricky, though. And again, PaperX are no slouches.
No, again, to stack up around the orb, anticipating actually the one thing that can bail them out of that eco round is Devi. I guess maybe not accounting for Mind Freak and a Sheriff, but not enough done. But now, PaperX will actually call a timeout, and this is the point here where PaperX need to flip this back. We talked about 13, 14 being in favor of Supermassive Blaze. They want to come back and effectively keep the economy ticking over. Here we have lots of ultimates available for PaperX, and we haven't really seen them excel at sort of stringing together these choreographed hits. And again, you look towards things like the lockdown and the usage of it on defense here, almost playing into being a weight on their minds, honestly, and kind of forcing them to play a certain way. Here, at least on the attack, possibility to find their way into B side, or A if they fancy it, but again, it's just not been the look that's that's what we look towards PaperX for, right? Yes, on Haven we did see a little better control and composure, but that was more about just finding reads. Here, don't have the tools necessary to do that.
And I think I'm glad the desk kind of highlighted it when we first came into this, right? It's kind of a call back to that. We are seeing some of those theorized problems starting to show, but it's still a fine margin. We don't have a completely one-sided game. 10-7 is actually a very solid game between these two. I'm more than happy to see them still keeping up here. But look at the run of rounds. That's what scares me, Hypok. That's the bit that stands out to me now, is that it may look close, but what's happened in this half so far has been still quite one-sided.
Actually, again, Devi and Forsaken will be the ones to drift into mid. Is he still with that operator? This time they will actually challenge this. Now the timing is going to be good enough that smoke will last long enough that they can get comfortably into mail. Again, don't expect SMB to fight for it. Once again, Pora has this spy cam above Hell.
You should run.
So know if this split comes through, but in a position now to be at the edge of the lockdown, Lauren. That's huge for PaperX.
impact it has. Because now they can go.
Spy cam again.
Bloomin' spy cam. They never get away with anything. Rust just on that edge. Quick pop flash. Didn't note a player, but Forsaken kind of gave away his positioning in the end. But this is a lovely site take. It's worked out perfectly. Now they need to hold the retake.
You are divided.
Ooh. Divide could have a nasty little position. Playing out this cubby here. Let's see if he can make something of it. Divide just gonna have to wait patiently. He's gonna have to hear the audio cues because once they're through, they're in someone else's problem. But Shiva